Oman de share me ma munyina akwa ba de ba Cantona TV so. Sene Cantona TV abena be nyina ya hye mo boss nsem bi ya di candidate no. Cantona TV ye mama so nsie bobo ransem mu ne ye dense na batumanum sa pepe ne ye no. Sene be ya atiefo pa omutie no betimi atensem a ekoso Oman Ghana mu. Na omo asa omutini asopam no mutu hwana mo nso no atimi ati na asopam. Na omo tu hwana mo na ma bibia nso atimi akoyie. Ncheche bi akoso e wankram poponi mi mantem ha ya ade enkura yedie won se ne be ya enkura omukọ social media ebitimi anya kwampa bia ebitimi dia monitor mo se social media na omukọ na so ayampa som the social media no de ye niema ebe bo omo abrabo na se de ye niema ebetieti omo fa ahodie so na sa dwumadie tetwe atitu na prempom bebrede bepe dwumadie na se ya ebra dwumadie no ekoso no eye chief executive director adema child online authority eye awo edim en nsentwefo edim komo na nkomo no say no rete nsentwefo ani.
My name is Awo Aida Mamenya. Yes, I did make mention of the fact that it's not all the time that children are abused. Sometimes children are perpetrators of abuse themselves, in a sense that if you do what is not expected of you online, you are perpetrating an act. You listen to the video documentary where the child says, "Oh, I'm a bully myself, so I really don't get the bully." When you meet out bully for bully, chances are that the intensity would increase. So clearly, there are a number of things that young people do for fun without knowing that it's an offense as far as the ethics of the space, the digital space is concerned. So which is why I made reference to that, because if a child posts a nude photo of herself online for attention, that child is not being abused. The child is misconducting herself or himself online. If another child is paid by an adult to film a child without her knowledge in the washroom and upload it, it's an offense. That's a misconduct on the part of the child. And so sometimes it's not only the adults who abuse children. Children abuse their fellow children, and that should be checked, which is why I situated the threat windows or the threat landscape within the 5C: the content, the conduct, the contact, the conduct, and cross-cutting issues.
Okay, thank you.
Any child who is involved in a prostitution did not enter prostitution by herself. He or she was lured by an adult. So it's child abuse. And so that is a grievous offense, and we adults who know such young people should start pointing them out and getting them to get the necessary attention that they require.
And
yes, so much as we say that cyberbullying can stop when it's physical, but cyberbullying does not stop. It's more like 24/7. You can be in your bedroom and you are being bullied and all of that, which is why as an organization, we place priority on digital citizenship. Because most of these young people, it will interest you to know that it's the fun of the space that keeps them there. Sometimes they are bored, so they go. And sometimes it's just because they know that their parents don't have control. And we parents sometimes we feel that the children know better than us. But what I want to say to parents is that children may come across as knowing something or having mastery over something, but they don't have the capacity to do the thought processing. So common sense does not come in for them, but the excitement does. So which is why as an organization, we have most of our safety materials now. We have them in the local languages as well. We have audio versions of the safety materials. So on the 22nd, we launched the family one, which is in Ewe, Twi, Ga, Hausa, French, and English. And on the 30th, we'll be launching the Cybersecurity Act with a focus on the children's provision, also in those same languages, and have the audio versions in it. So as much as possible, yes, we would like to encourage parents to take interest in what their children are doing online. Because it's an imaginary space, nobody can be watching them much, but a lot is happening, and we need to get them to understand that once they have their footprints online, it has repercussions for either their education or their employment in future. And most young people, it will interest you to know, once they get to understand that, they apply caution. But if they don't know, they go all out because of the adventure involved in it. So clearly, it's a responsibility we need to take up as adults to ensure that we are giving them the necessary information and skills they require. That was one of the things I emphasized at the provision side. We talk about protection, we talk about participation, but we do very little when it comes to provision. So even if you are handing a device to a child, it's important for you as an adult who is buying the device to either let the child know which numbers to call to report something, or even to know where to press or how to keep the evidence for you should you want to prosecute whoever is engaging in the act with the child. So those are things. It's not enough to say that I can afford a mobile phone and get the device for the child. That is a powerful tool, an information superhighway. And it's like you just put the child on a billboard there. So we need to do our part as adults and be that responsible. Some also leave the device and say, oh, because an anti-spam platform has been activated, my child is protected and all. No. Children have a way of bypassing things. Even if you have family links, they are able to bypass it to download content that you don't want them to do. So if you don't make yourself a shoulder for them to lean on when something happens, chances are that one day you'll be there and then your child is no longer in sight because he or she might have been trafficked by somebody else online. Law, the Cybersecurity Act has provision for that. So if, for instance, a child bullies another child, then the bully will have to face the consequences of the law, and that will be dealt with at their level to the extent that it becomes a disciplinary system, not punishment per se, discipline which will help to reform the behavior of the perpetrator of such an act. The fact is, government cannot do enough. We are a civil society organization, and we have been very loud in this space. And as much as possible, in fact, you, the media, you have a huge role. You know why? Some of your contents are even abused to the children themselves. Some of your contents lure them into doing things. So if you get to understand what child online protection is all about, you will now then incorporate it in your editorial guides, just so you'll be minimizing the threat to children whilst every other stakeholder is involved in it.
Ɛda mo nyinaa mo ase sɛ manje mmra hwɛ Kantona TV. Kantona TV yɛka deɛ